out of it, whereas there's just some games which are like totally broken and like the mechanics don't even work. Like what's the NES game that I'm thinking of that was incomplete? Like Cats, something. Cheetah Man, that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
Good old Cheetah Man.
and people are like, no, that game was actually somewhat good. It's like, you think that was better than E.T.? E.T. was actually a functional game.
See, I actually got someone like that guy who like actually finished the game. He did what, like a Kickstarter.
There's something who actually finished
Oh wait, Cheetah Man 2?
Yeah, well, there was a guy who like put together a crowdfunding campaign so you could actually like make it into a functioning game.
Yeah, I want to
So it
see
didn't
this
just
now.
break. Yeah, you should look into that.
It was at like the second year of Con Bro, the guy was like selling it. It was like they didn't improve the game; they just made it possible to beat it.
What game was this?
Cheetah Man 2.
Oh.
If you ever heard of Action 52, there's a game on it called Cheetah Man. They made a sequel to that that was a complete crippled mess. That
I know.
coding
Someone
issues.
speedran it, though.
Speedrun.
It's one of those games where like you get to a certain point in like the actual game and it doesn't let you get any further. It's like it won't. The only game that I can even think of that
It's
even,
unstable.
yeah, it breaks, right? Like there's only one that I know that is more recent. Was, do you remember Turok Rage Wars on the N64?
Oh,
There's two different versions, and one is like extremely expensive because it's so rare. There's a black cartridge version which exists, which is the normal retail. And if you play multiplayer and you get to a certain point of the game, to get to a boss, it literally does not know to sequence it to the next scene. So the game is completely unplayable in multiplayer. But the gray one, they fixed it, and almost nobody has it. So it's like I've not quite seen too many games that actually have that problem unless they're like bootleg. So like Action 52 is, I think it's considered like a bootleg. Kind of, but not really.
Yeah. In technical terms, yes.
Yeah.
In another sense, not really, because they kind of officially released it.
It's not like licensed by Nintendo.
Yeah,
kind
not
of thing,
quite,
right?
but it's like third party.
Which is like there's a whole plethora of NES games that are like that though.
Yeah, like the tank and...
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Nintendo.
stuff like that, or what was it, Bible games?
Oh god, yeah, the Bible games.
By the way, going back to E.T., I did play it. I don't want to say it was good, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I just kind of found it like charming and a really.
For an Atari game, it was okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's okay for the technological limitations. It's not the most fun thing, but there are certainly worse things.
It wasn't the worst thing that I was told about.
It's like for it to get that much.
Yeah, like they built so much hype. When I go into there, it's just like, oh, that was just all air. It's like a bottle. Like there's only this much water in it, but they make it sound like there's like a ton of it. Anyways,
It's like a disappointing bag of chips.
Oh my god.
oh yeah.
Yeah, but in a way, like every bag is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, they're all only half full.
Yeah, same with like protein powder. They always like leave this much space of air. It's like, right,
Underneath
you're like
the cap.
50
You know why they
bucks for
actually
this.
do that? I actually figured this out. You know why they actually do that? It's like an air bag for them for whenever they're transporting it, so that things don't break apart.
Yeah.
Still
I used to get so
It still
furious
sucks.
until I found that out. I'm like, I really would rather not have chip dust at the bottom of this bag.
That makes sense.
Once you find the reason, there's always a reason. It might not be a good reason, but
You're like, okay, I can
you
give.
accept it.
Okay,
What
maybe.
game were you guys talking about? I missed it.
Oh, we were talking about how like
Chips are disappointing.
chips were disappointing and how like hype builds up that like invisible
Oh, okay.
Like,
feature.
this is a
like
terrible game, right?
This is a terrible bag of chips.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we probably don't need this.
No,
I don't think we're good with
I
that.
think
We're in a
we
small
should
room.
Okay. I think that
You guys
we-
have that in here, it's okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
cool.
perfect.
Sweet. I think it'd be a good idea for us to maybe even like open up the Q&A now, just if anybody has any questions, and we can kind of branch through all of that.
Anything about like reviews, any games we might want to
How to
tackle?
do them, what equipment you'd want.
Yeah.
Any games you think we should cover?
No Man's Sky.
What's that?
No Man's Sky.
Oh, good
When it
lord.
goes down in price.
Yeah.
When it goes down in price, but then again, that's already the review. It's not worth the money that they set up.
I'll just rent it from work.
Oh wait, no, I got a better alternative. I got a better alternative for No Man's Sky. You, anyone heard of the game called Subnautica?
Yeah.
What about Osiris?
Oh, I heard of that, but I don't like remember the details about
It's
it.
like New Landings or something. Osiris New Landing. Yogg's Cast right now is covering it. It looks like so much fun. It looks better than No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky was really disappointed with one particular thing. Like, put aside everything that they quote unquote falsely advertised. I won't get into that whole story, but the one thing that killed it for me was the fact that they said they have zero interest in multiplayer games. And making like a multiplayer, aspect to that game. And I was like, that ruined it for like 70% of the market, because especially like, when you look at a game that is so open like that one, where it's like you can go and explore,
You want to share it.
you want to share that experience with so many other people. One of the games that I played the crap out of, and I love it so much, is Elite Dangerous. Very similar to the same vein of Star Citizen Online. These games really encourage like the gigantic galactic kind of feel, but they also encourage that sharing of that experience, because then you can play with other people, get into like squadrons and stuff like that.
Wait, I have a question. So you played
So-
No Man's Sky, and
I actually haven't played No Man's Sky, but I've played Elite Dangerous, and I've seen enough on Star Citizen.
okay, so who's played it? Because I have a question.
I given up all hope on playing it now.
Oh, okay, this is what I heard from someone, that there are like traders that you can like go to do like bargaining in the game.
Yeah.
I thought the game was called No Man's Sky, so why
Well,
do
there's
they
no.
exist?
not man.
Apparently, you're.
They're
I don't even know if
alien
you're human.
Well, I guess they should have said No Sentient Life Sky.
Well, better than no
I'll
man.
just put you
No.
online. There's like the huge dispute going on right now. There's like a ransom on somebody
Oh
or
my God.
something.
With-
Yeah, like
It's
$75,000.
not over it. It's a VG cable.
Um,
Uses VG gate.
When it comes to EVE Online, the only thing that I was like really disappointed with that game was like, don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but not for me. Is I like being the person who's in the cockpit of the ship and controlling every little minute movement.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of play style that I like. That's why I like Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen Online.
I think you would really like Subnautica because there's a submarine you can build. And
Yep.
it's so cool.
Now they have a mech.
I don't know.
That was the coolest part too, and the grapple arm.
I'm still saving up to get it.
I'm gonna try and take a look at some reviews on Subnautica, because I'd really love to see a little bit more on it. Because I've
Watch
seen.
Markiplier's videos.
I was just gonna say, like, I've seen like Markiplier's been playing it, a few other people that
I've been streaming it a lot, and like I'm grabbing all the stuff, and it's just so immersive.
I'm gonna have to stop in then, because like I know nothing about the game.
The less you know, the better, because it's
Yeah.
more exciting. Because someone on the stream like told me where like one of the locations was, and I was like,
Well, there goes
I
the
don't,
fun.
yeah, I don't feel like yes, I found it, even though it was set up. But spoilers are terrible.
I should probably ask you, either you two know anything about Elite Dangerous at all?
My coworker has told me all about it. But
Anyone-
I've never played.
Anyone here know just at least the name of the game?
Yes,
Elite Dangerous?
just the
Okay.
name.
I haven't heard.
It's the new rendition of a game. For those of you who don't know, it's the new rendition of a game that came out in the 70s, just titled simply Elite. Elite Dangerous is basically the envisionment of what they wanted to do with the technology that's available now. To put in perspective how large this game is, it is the largest game in current existence, period. 400 billion star systems to explore.
But I imagine
Free to
it's
play?
kind of, no. I imagine it's like not heavy. It's just like simplistic graphics, but it's like there's a lot more
It's
quantity than.
what they've done is they've made the promises set forward that they want to actually introduce more and more and more of the game to make it even more of an immersive experience, which they've done a very good job with. The first thing that they said was, okay, we get it, you guys can't get out of your ships. What if we make an expansion called Horizons? You can get out in a Land Rover and start actually traversing the terrain. The terrain is very basic, but you can also now battle other people and other rovers. Okay, and that suddenly just skyrocketed into another level of sighting, so people were like, I can get out of my ship now. And the other two things that they want to do next, that they've said they have, and they've been pretty good about fulfilling their promises, is leaving the ship and walking on foot across a space station, and these things are huge. Like, when you're pulling into the dock, I can't even begin to describe the feeling of insignificance you have to the mass of this object. Like, it's pretty much like the stereotypical scene in Star Wars where they're like going up to the Death Star saying, that's a moon, right? No, that's a space station, right? And then when they pull up to it, you see how grand in scale this thing is. Like, it's just, I can't. Okay, if you guys, I'm assuming everyone here has watched Markiplier's videos. Okay, it's pretty much, that's exactly how I am in that game. Just, space! Like, every 5 seconds is just so beautiful.
It makes me want to boot up Subnautica now, hearing that. Because docking into your base, once you build like this thing called a moon pool where you put your vehicles, your submersibles in, it's just so cool because it's like, and you get to upgrade in there. It's just like, it's so cool. But I've done everything in the game at the moment, so it's like, okay, I I just do base building.
It's a really good game to check out, and one of the things that I love that a lot of streamers do is, because I actually do this too, they put a program attached to it. I look for the most immersive games experiences that I can, so this just goes for like all games. So with Elite, I've actually got a voice recognition piece of software where I can voice out to my computer and she will do what I ask her to, or try to kill me, depending on how she's feeling that day. So like I'll ask her stupid questions like, Sammy, tell me a joke, and she'll say a man walks into a bar and a table and a chair. And I'll ask her for another joke and she'll say that she's got the heart of a lion and a lifetime ban from the zoo. So it's like really stupid, quirky stuff like that. And like I'll tell her, you know, jump warp, and she'll say like, really, are we running away again? Stupid stuff like that. Like she gives me a lot of crap, but I find it's like really interesting.
She's sassy.
Yeah.
I like AIs like that.
She's a sassy gal, and she has tried to get me killed many times
Like
before.
something like from like Laos and Coral.
Basically, yeah. Except she actually knows that if I die, that she's going too. So she kind of like she'll pressure me to almost be killed, and I hate her so much for it.
So if you die, you're done?
Well, the thing is, like I think you said you play Eve, right? There's like an insurance policy. Like if your ship blows up, you go in. It's the same idea. You pay an insurance amount, you can get your ship and all your stuff back, but like your cargo's gone. And
So what if you have no money to pay that off?
you start in a Sidewinder, one of the crappiest ships in the game.
But you still have the same AI, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Well, because it's an exterior program. I just
Next
put it in
step
there
for
for entertainment.
GTA in space.
GTA in space.
I would love to actually see that.
Does anyone have any questions or anything?
Capture card recommendation, or like recommendations for not just capture cards, but also
For streaming?
Yeah. So for anyone who didn't hear, the question was like, what kind of...
Maybe we should give the mic to the audience.
Yeah, maybe that's a good
So the question was about like capture cards and software that we use to actually like capture game footage to share with an audience.
Or to use for a video.
Sure. I find that the Pod HDD Rocket has worked really well because it's very simplistic. Yeah, you can use a flash drive as your source of memory, which is very helpful, so you don't have to worry about using your computer as a host. So, yeah, that can be a little bit of an issue. It doesn't really work together with streaming, like let's say an Elgato would. That's
There is
the
a
thing.
streaming function on
There's
it,
a
but then you lose the
streaming
customization on it.
See, I didn't know there was
But it's
a
only on the
streaming
computer.
Okay. Still, I like the portable nature of it. I think it's really good. For actual streaming, I use OBS. I find that once you get the settings all like configured, I find it so easy to work with. I find that it offers everything I need in order to just be able to set everything up, and it's great because like the moment I boot it up, it's already set up there for me. I think it's more about like the layout too when you're doing things like streams. Like it's nice having a dual monitor set up.
Yeah.
I know too many people use like one and I'm like, oh my god.
I
It'd
used
be
to
a
do that.
nightmare if you only used one monitor
I
or
used to
something
do that,
like that.
and I regretted every
Oh
minute
my
of it.
By using a dual monitor.
Using a singular monitor.
Oh.
However, in my defense, it was a 32-inch.
Yeah.
No, see that's different. I have a
But things got pixelated so fast.
Yeah.
Because like you're this close to it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the moment where you realize, no, I'm desperate. You go get a really shitty 4x3 monitor that you dug up from the basement. You're like, I'm just gonna deal.
Yeah.
what's the problem with using
A single monitor?
Yeah.
It gets very cluttered very fast. So
give me a representation. Like you got one screen here, you got the
Yeah,
gameplay
there's
here,
just too
you
much
got
going
chat
on
here.
all in this one screen. You kind of want it to be
Yeah.
spread out. So you can focus on the game, and then you can have another one for the chat thread so you can answer people. And, you know, OBS is just like chilling over there too. So it's like, it's good to kind of separate
It's
it out.
very cluttered. Like, say if you play a game full screen and you're streaming it, right? Someone talks in the chat. Oh, got an alt tab and be like, oh yeah, respond to it. Then you
you
gotta
run
jump
your
back.
phone right next to it, which you're gonna be draining your battery.
Yeah, that too. But long story short, dual monitors like really help give you more space.
You could not streaming rate, but using a dual monitor has totally changed the way I do anything.
Yeah, the biggest thing is just like simple answer. It's clutter. You have like what I have in my setup is I'll have OBS, I'll have whatever I'm playing, I'll have the chat open, and then I'll also have an alert system. So like whenever anyone makes like a donation or follows the stream or anything like that.
Oh, that one.
It's like
You can have a thing built into OBS to just be like tell you this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to think
Really?
about
So-
I didn't know OBS.
So on the expanding on the dual monitors, say video game editing. When you have an editing screen, you want to see everything. You want it all to be the max size, right? You don't want to be in this small window and be like, I'm gonna tinker with this little footage or anything. So you have one screen where it's like you're editing. On the other hand, the other screen, you have your folder. It's like grab this, throw here, grab this. Instead of being like flip back and forth, flip back and forth. So dual monitors are really helpful if you're doing that type of stuff.
One thing I'll put a disclaimer out there for is that if you're just starting and you want to just do a stream, it does not matter if you have 1 or 2 monitors, you can still make it work. You can.
It's just more helpful that.
Yeah, you can run games in.
Use.
Yeah, you can run games in windowed mode just so you can get the point across, and then you can have just like the chat. You don't need like all the other fancy stuff, although I feel like it helps, like the notifications and all that. But if you realistically just want to do it, you don't have to go very complex. I will agree on the OBS note. I used to use what was the other?
XSplit?
Yes,
I
used to use XSplit, and there's pros and cons here. Using XSplit is really easy for anyone who knows nothing about this type of software. OBS, I had to kind of look stuff up that wasn't really like apparent. Like one thing was like changing the size of stuff that wasn't uniform. I didn't realize you had to hold it.
Oh yeah, like certain commands on.
Yeah, so like you do have to do a little bit of research, but once you've gotten through that learning process, it's so much more flexible and it's all open source. So it's consistently being upgraded, whereas XSplit
Customized.
yeah, you can have an infinite amount of different scenes, so I can do like an AFK screen, an actual gaming screen for like various different types of games. XSplit you can only do
Well, when I say
3.
customize, I meant like, you know that whole thing, the whole alert thing about donation stuff?
Yeah.
You can have like a codec that's placed in OBS, and then it'll just pop up on your OBS whenever anything happens.
I didn't know that.
I saved so much space by doing
That's
that.
really good to know.
Because I used to have
to
to.
look into
I
that.
know, that's one thing.
But that's actually like it's a good question to ask because I think that
So is OBS a software then?
yes,
Yes.
oh it's actually called OBS Open Broadcast Software.
Okay.
It's completely free.
Which is great.
Studios now too.
Yeah, it's like
It's very much recommended. I would suggest it. And if you ever get lost, and honestly, there's so many really good like YouTube tutorials on how to get yourself set up for the first time.
so sorry, do you like to
Yeah, I'm like the last one answering your question.
After this, we'll get to this gentleman because I did see your hand up after him as well.
is it impractical to stream off laptops? Because it sounds like you guys are
Stream off an iPod?
Laptop.
Oh, no.
Stream off an iPod. Wow, that would be really hindering yourself.
You could. I would have your Ethernet connected to your laptop for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I always do. I'm always like fully connected on there, just so you don't have to like worry about any like lag or anything like that. I've never done it on a laptop before. I guess it really depends on what your build is like, how strong it is, what it's processing.
Yeah, so
what you're actually streaming.
Multitasking, yeah, it does really matter.
Because like I find I drop frames occasionally with playing with Elite Dangerous because like it's a pretty intensive game, but then I'll go and play something like Hearthstone and you get like no droplets of
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so streaming on a laptop, it's like, it depends. Are you streaming the game from the laptop, or are you using the laptop as the medium to stream something else? Like say you're playing a game on your TV, you plug it into your laptop just does all the broadcasting, and yeah, that's
totally fine. Yeah.
totally easy. So,
It makes it a lot less intensive on it so that the system itself doesn't have an issue.
yeah. Okay, so stuff I use is pretty much what Erica and Daryl say, but it also depends too. For HD games with the HDMI cable or composite, the HD PVR, really simplistic. Plug it in, and you can just record right off the bat. And streaming, like I said, you can only do it on the computer by plugging it into the computer and then going to the streaming setting, which I found, but never used because it didn't have my customizations in it. It just has gameplay, camera, that was it. But yeah, that's an option there. For retro games, I use this thing called the Dazzle, because the red, white, yellow cable.
It's all component or composite cables.
Yeah, composite cable. I use that for retro games, and that one's easy to set up because OBS recognizes it, so I just display the footage on OBS, and there I go. I just either record my game or stream the game. And a little more helpful information is you can get this at Best Buy.
Yeah.
That's one of the best.
Or Amazon.
Yeah, that too. But
Price match it at Best Buy from Amazon because you can do that. I have done that before.
yeah, but if you want to go through it locally, Best Buy, I would have said Future Shop, but that's gone.
Yay!
So that's how I would record stuff. HDPVR for HDMI games, Dazzle for the component
Composite.
Composite or component, either way, you can still.
Okay, composite like recording, and then like for streaming, OBS, because it's compared to XSplit, which is actually limited. While it is free, you can't get the higher functions without like paying money for it. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna pay for that.
And that's why OBS is so low.
OBS lets you do everything and anything as long as you know the code to put it in, and then all the functions you want in it, like maybe a camera screen, like the scenes you were talking about, camera for just the camera, then gameplay footage that you can switch to, and all this other like neat junk that you can work with. It takes a little while. It's not too difficult to learn.
There's tons of sources out there. There's forums and YouTube channels and all that. So what was your question?
Oh, my question was, how important is editing and how long do you usually take to like make a single video, I guess?
Very important.
Yeah, the editing is like the backbone. I keep telling people it's like 10 or 15% shooting, 75% or more editing. People don't seem to realize, like, and I see this with like this day and age where people see somebody with a camera and they're just like they're either a photographer or they're a videographer and they're like, oh yeah, I can do that. And they don't see the other majority part of the work where they sit down and have to shorten it down, condense it into something that's more consumable, something that doesn't have a lot of dead space in it where no one's talking, or has irrelevant content, or maybe something that they don't want to really hear that's too controversial.
Or they don't know the planning behind the scene. Like for instance, like when you see the finished product and you look at it, you're like, oh, I can probably do that. What like viewers probably don't realize is like they had to think like, oh, what did we want to capture? What did we want to get? It's like it takes a long while, but people are watching. They see the final product like. Say at a wedding, they take a picture of the bride. It's like, oh, well, that's easy. But it's like, wow, when it was being done, it was like, how do I do this
I gotta figure out my light balance, my white balance. I gotta figure out my levels. I gotta figure out if it's color corrected.
Yeah, stuff like that. There's more
composing the image.
There's more behind it. So when you see people on the internet saying like, oh, I could easily do that, unless they actually have like a portfolio of them doing that stuff, don't believe it.
Yeah, there's a lot of pacing and structure involved with this. I find one of the easiest ways to get through an editing project like fast enough, like if I'm making like a really lengthy video about, I just recently did one on like my favorite atmospheres in horror games. A lot of times what I'll do is I will prepare ahead of time by creating a loose script, making bullet points, and focusing on those per cut. So I will do a cut where I'm introducing a game, and I'll do another cut where I'm talking about the game, and then I'll use that as my the audio overlay while I show the game, right? And then I'll do more of those, and I will specifically have my cuts so that I already have everything all set, and then I can, it's good if you leave a little bit of a pause in between each cut, just because you want it to sound like a person. You don't want it to sound like a robot or something. It's
or
so easy
monotone.
to do that. Very monotone, right? So I find that's a really good way of being able to do so, just because it kind of speeds up the process a bit, and it helps encourage the idea of having a format, right? Maybe this is just from working as a journalist and thinking, by paragraph, okay, these are the things I want to take, these are the things, right? I like to separate that sort of stuff. It makes a huge difference if you can just separate your cuts like that. It saves you a lot of time. I personally use Premiere Pro. I love it. I find that it does have a bit of a learning curve. It's at the same time it's a lot more accessible than people might make it out to be, but there's a lot to learn in the midst of all that too.
Something I really love about Adobe programs in particular is if you know one, you can pretty much make your way around most of them. Because I went from knowing nothing about video editing to using Photoshop, InDesign, Dreamweaver, Illustrator, and then I was like, okay, let's try Premiere, and you can kind of have that slight familiarity of the layout, and you can go, okay, no, this is probably where this is going to be, or like this is how like effects work, and you kind of feel really comfortable at that point.
Well, it's kind of like when playing a video game. You've never played this game before, but you played a game that's like it. When you jump in, you're just like, oh, okay, there's these little like things.
It's kind of like the mentality of, hey, look, I've played Chrono, but I've never played Secret of Mana. It's like, okay, well, they're kind of similar styled RPGs.
Slightly different ideas, but the same core element.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, okay, so I'm in a familiar ground now. I kind of understand how to play this.
You need to adapt to it. Let's see, so video editing, how important is it? Well, video editing is like the puzzle piece of your video. Like you've got like recording your footage, like that's the picture on the puzzle piece, right? So when you get to the editing, you just build that puzzle together and make it look good.
And there's many different ways that you can try and make it like a little bit easier on yourself. One thing I suggest that people do that I started doing really early on because I realized how easy this made my job. Record your audio and the video completely independently. Because what happens is if there's something in, say, the game footage that you're doing that's way too loud in the background, then it becomes very difficult to lower that thing's volume and increase your voice's volume. Whereas if they're put in something like Audacity is actually what I use. If
Free software.
One of the things you'll notice is a lot of content creators, we use free software. We're just like everybody else. We try and save
resourceful.
we try and save a few bucks here and there so that we can pour it back into other things like purchasing more games for more content kind of idea. But yeah, if you have your audio separate, you can gauge that on its own, and then you have your video footage separate, you can gauge that on its own. It's a lot easier.
Well, you see, that depends. Like, you're talking about like for a Let's Play, right? Or review?
Even if you're doing a review, because I noticed that like there's various different formats for reviews. Some people will actually talk over the audio of the game while they're doing it, whereas I know that your format is you record the footage first and then you talk like kind of like almost like a interview style. Different like
which video?
this is like from just like briefly looking through, like you kind of like you go like back and forth. Like I'm thinking like AVGN as well, right? Like he'll go and he'll play the game, but he'll like have the footage recorded and it's right there, but he'll like talk over it, right?
Something like that. I have three things. I got video footage, my narration during the video footage, and the live action footage where it's just like on the camera. But everyone has their own way of doing things. The way I do my thing is when I record the game footage, I don't really record the audio because the whole thing on YouTube of copyright. Like, I hear this music, copyright, and I'm just like, So then I just cut the audio completely and put my own music over it. So if I ever come back to editing it, I can just and they're like, copyright that. It's like. No music, copyright that now.
That's why I just grabbed the image, not the audio file, and I work with different musicians on Bandcamp, ask for permission to use their music, and it's a great way to work together with them.
Or you can always use like
that. But that's just like one thing. I know that YouTube also has a library.
That too. That's royalty free.
Like audio. There's plenty of things like that.
One thing that I'm also starting to notice, which I'm getting really happy to see, is there's actually a lot of YouTube audio artists out there. One I actually follow his work, his name's TechnoAxe, and he actually releases all of his work royalty free. Like he says, as long as you put the credit at the bottom of your description, you can use all of my music, or at least like this massive library that he has, for free in your videos. So that's like,
that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Because it promotes them, and you don't get copyrighted for it.
It's fun.
I think there's also other people who've been around for forever, like Kevin MacLeod, who's got like what's his thing again? So it's in Contact was like one of the first things that was out there, and then a lot more people realized that this is the way to go with their audio because now they're getting exposure. The content creators getting exposure. It's everyone's sharing everything at this point.
Oh yeah. So going back to the audio, the other reason I cut out the audio is because when I'm flipping footage, imagine if like. One footage was playing a music piece, but then when I cut to another one, the music just suddenly stopped. It just feels very disjointed. So when the audio is all cut out and you just hear my narration and music playing over it, it's all very, very consistent. With the footage, you can understand. Maybe I'm showing a point, maybe I'm just showing basic gameplay, or making a point. Either one of those two. So that's why I cut my audio out and the voice on YouTube.
Any other questions?
Go right ahead.
So for like a 5 or 10 minute video, how much time would you say you actually spend total to make that?
For a 5-minute video, probably like for me on average between 30 and 60 minutes, depending on how complex the 5-minute video is. Like if it's just like a one shot of somebody sitting in a chair and just like explaining something like an announcement video, that'll take them like less than 30 minutes to edit. Or if it's this intricate, like several layered thing where they have like tons of stuff coming up on screen, possibly text or some audio, fade in and fade out. It's like that'll take maybe about 45 to 60 minutes.
It's how much work you put into it.
Yeah.
So those vlogs that are really long, would you say and it's just someone talking like while sitting like about a subject. Would you say that's really complex? No, not really.
As a vlogger, it's really easy to manage.
Yeah. So, but let's switch that. Let's say that vlog was 48 minutes, and then you switch that to a movie, and it has like, I don't know, Michael Bay, all these effects. Obviously, there a lot of stuff went into that. So,
Yeah.
as for the whole, how much time or effort you put into it, it varies between. So,
I was just gonna say, like, if I'm doing, because I like I said, I like doing scripting, and that also keeps things really snappy too. So I could be doing a review, an in-depth review, because I already know how I want this all to be planned out. I can do that within 5 minutes and be able to say everything I want to say. So I was actually gonna say, like, it takes me about 4 hours, because it's like 1 hour to brainstorm and figure out what I want to say, and then another hour for the filming, and then about another hour for editing, sometimes a little bit longer to be able
the more
to get,
complex it gets.
yeah, and using transitions and everything, and making sure that everything fits together, and then exporting and uploading.
Oh, geez,
that
the part-
you could technically consider around another hour or so.
Oh jeez, the part where you have to watch your video again, even though throughout the entire editing process you have been watching
More
it.
than once.
Yeah.
Yes, just to make sure nothing happens, like misinformation or like the screen suddenly blacks out and you're like, what?
On that note, as content creators, I think we can all agree, before you upload a video, watch it in full before you throw it up there, because I cannot count the number of times I've uploaded a video, did not make it go live yet, and realized there is an error somewhere. Like you said, like I've had blackouts in the footage where it's like audio's still going, image goes missing. Or like the audio, like the music in the background is like da 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 da, cuts.
Something's missing, or like you didn't credit someone, and
Be
it's like,
very thorough about that sort of stuff. Always watch before you export.
Yes, and before you export, it's probably the best time to see.
Yeah,
Also, I would highly recommend, like, after you finish editing, like, you render it, leave, like, your workstation for, like, a day, or at least if you're impatient, like, a couple of hours, come back with a fresh mind and be like, okay, let's see if anything's wrong, and you detect, because while you're working, your mind is in that state where it's like everything sounds like a good idea, but then when it comes out, and you come back with the sane mind, it's like,
yeah.
what was I thinking? Because one time I was recording myself live action for a video, and I was really sleep deprived. I was like, so hey guys, all this stuff, and we're talking about this game. It sounded like a good idea in my head at the time, but when I looked at the footage again when I was awake, I was like, delete.
Oh my god, is that me?
So going back to your question about the process of doing a video, like I said, it depends on who, but the way I do it, I pick like for the video game review, I pick a game, I play the game, usually all the way through, so that takes a couple of hours because I gotta beat the game fully to get a unbiased review, because like I played the whole game, so now I have a full opinion of the game, and then I write the script for it. Sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it takes a while because it's like, oh, how do I talk about this part? What should I talk about? What do I not need to put in that's like not important? Like, do I talk about the controls? No, that's dumb. Like if it's a platform where everybody knows the B button to jump, I don't have to be like, oh, you press the B button to jump. Who cares about that? So, write the script, and let's see. And if I wrote any thing for live action, record that. Sometimes, if I don't blooper myself, or I flub over a line I wrote, or like I forgot a line, usually takes a very short amount of time. I'm kind of quick on that. Then you bring it in. Then you go into the editing, and the editing part is really fun. And it's not that long if you have a script, because then you know, like, okay, I need to grab this, do that, and then just put it all together. Also, then there's the audio recording, which takes quite a bit because I'm kind of really perfectionist about it, because if something doesn't sound right, I delete the entire line and just like re-record it. That was what was happening with me when I was recording my lines for this review, Battletoads Genesis. Took a long time, but like I finally got that done. So edited.
Did you beat it?
Oh yeah, it was worse than the original. I have the review online. If you ever, or if anyone
Is that one up right now?
It's already been up since last 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yes, someone just started it. My buddy Mini Ninjas from IamMiniNinjas.com. Shameless plug. But yeah, so then it goes through the process of after rendering it, you got to check it again just to make sure nothing goes wrong, and then you can be happy and satisfied with what you've done. So process varies is basically it.
We got, what, 10 more minutes?
Take this question right over.
So can you name a couple channels that you guys subscribe to? And if I was to create a channel today, what type of content would I need to make to get you to subscribe to it?
I feel like literally the best answer to that question is do whatever you enjoy. Because one thing that I've noticed, even though I'm like probably the smallest channel on this panel right now, which I have no problem being, is I've now had the honor and privilege to be, being under the tutelage of so many amazing people. If you play something you really enjoy, or just do any content you really enjoy, people feed off of that. There's nothing more infectious than than being genuine and being in a good mood. To give you an example, if you ever see a video where someone is genuinely pissed off or not pleased with what they're creating, most of the time people will click off of that video.
Because they find it funny, because on one hand, or like they agree with it.
Yeah, it's like either they're really into that kind of thing, which is kind of a smaller market, or they're like, this person's not really enjoyable to watch. But if you go and watch people like, say, CNNers or Markiplier or Team Edge, or like basically a whole bunch of these really like high-tier YouTubers, one thing that they all have in common, they're almost always smiling. I say almost because like I'm remembering Markiplier's like I am Bread LP, and oh my god.
Sometimes those worthy moments are great. I think it's about passion.
That's also
Sometimes
another
a universal
thing.
passion. Passion can come from sometimes a negative space, sometimes it can come from a positive space.
I feel like it's a better
I'd like
word
to
to
see
use.
that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you feel like you have an expertise in something, if you feel like you have a particular amount of knowledge in something that's really important to me that's happening. I know that for myself, I'm a sucker for hidden gems on various systems. I like to promote that kind of stuff, the lesser known. Also with JRPGs, I have pretty wide knowledge of JRPGs, so I like to talk about it. I mean, I know everything, but that's also what the comments are for, is so we can sort of embrace that and engage together. I think it's really important that when you're making videos is to encourage your people who are watching to engage and to comment. I have a lot of times now with my community, I have just under 24,000 subscribers right now. And I have this community that's positive, they talk together, and they become friends with each other, and I love that. I think that's great. And since like being on Twitch, they kind of carried over, and it's like this really nice positive community. And I love that because I want that kind of conversation. And if you can like show that passion, that genuine feeling that you want to share with everybody, people will notice that. I think it's very important to watch other video producers just to get an idea, inspiration. One of my favorite books is Steal Like an Artist. It's a really great book that talks about how imitation is very much like, there's a very negative connotation when it comes to mimicry or anything like that, but I find that it is a part of what creates that base for you. And that's also something that can help create your own style, right? And I think that there's a way of transcending that sense of imitation or mimicry, right? I feel like it just kind of feeds into more ideas and more inspiration. So if there are any particular video producers you like, continue watching them, maybe branch off into even more and see what they all do to give you more ideas to make it all your own, right? You can make it all your own and just be you. I think that's like one of the most important things.
Just to kind of like elaborate on that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically like, first of all, I'm going to say, I like that word better, find something you're passionate about rather than something you enjoy, right? Like
That's, that's kind of falls in line.
yeah, but the other thing is, find someone you aspire to be like as far as content is concerned, and like watch kind of things that they do, stuff that they try to avoid, and try and understand why. Right, so it's like if you see that they're like avoiding things, that one of the things that I avoid purposefully is YouTube drama. I'm not interested in it, and I've actually gotten comments on it about I did a panel at Anime North this past year, and someone says, "What do you think about the YouTube drama?" And I say, "I just stay away from it because I don't care for that side of YouTube. I focus on being positive, and I focus on my content and my colleagues' content, and trying to better ourselves." Instead of worrying about
Stuff that's
so trivial in the end it really means almost nothing.
Although some people will like ride on that and just be like, just to gain views, I'd say. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, it's a hot topic, we better do it.
The thing
before
is that's a really good way of getting like a short-term audience. You're gonna get
Yeah.
people who want to feed into that, but then they'll quickly disappear. A lot of times I feel like the channels like that, unless you're like really, really big or something, I feel like that's a really good way of people just sort of like coming and going, which is not what you want. You want people to stick around, right?
Yeah, so like for videos, obviously do what you want, because if you hate what you're doing, it will really show, because your viewers will catch subtleties that even you aren't aware of. And another thing is be consistent, because when you're making content, you want to be consistent in it, so that, say you do a video once a week, like on Friday, so they watch it, it's like, oh, next week, next Friday, there'll be something, okay, I'll come back and see what he does. That's better than say like, like say for instance, like you just do a video once a month and then it was like for some X amount of like months later you then do another video. Like, are you gonna like follow someone like that? Like they might do a good video, but they're so inconsistent that it's just like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that guy.
I feel like that's my biggest issue right now.
Same here.
Because like right now, boy, am I sleep deprived. I had to edit 37 videos in 4 days to make sure that the vlog work that I had was caught up to yesterday. Oh man, I was up until 4:30 in the morning and had to be here for 8.
I'm surprised you don't have a laptop that you bring with you.
Oh no, it's in the artist alley with the team right now. It's
Oh my
here.
goodness.
So yeah, one thing I'll say is that yeah, I will wholeheartedly agree. Consistency, whether you're doing a Twitch stream or YouTube channel, have a consistent schedule. You don't need to do
some sort.
Yeah, you don't need to be absolutely nuts and go one day to a day. That's not necessary.
That'll
You do-
really burn you out.
Oh,
unless you're on a team.
I'm feeling the burnout right now, as a matter of fact, because like I do daily video blogs and then about 2 to 3 videos a week for gaming content, and then 3 streams a week. Plus a part-time job.
Yeah, well, that's how a lot of us have to do it. We have to juggle so much. Like, I work at a retro video game store in the city, AMC Games, with this guy. and I find that that's a really good opportunity to kind of feed into the idea of like the things I want to talk about just by talking to people about their memories. Being nostalgic at heart, it's just like, it's kind of like an ever-flowing thing, and it creates inspiration after. But that's still a job.
Yeah.
It's like you go to work, and then you go home, and you do more work, and then you sleep, and maybe play a little bit of video games, but it might be for work, and then you wake up in the morning and you work, and then you go to work, and then you work again, you know?
Why can't that be called working out?
But it's fun, and that's the other thing, is if you're doing fun work, sometimes you forget that it's work, so that's a really good way of burning out. I've burned out like twice now on my channel, and I've had to take long breaks.
It's so stereotypical.
It's tricky.
It's so like cliche, but I feel like it's the best way of explaining it. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. If you honestly and genuinely enjoy whatever you are doing, whether that's making videos or if you're working in a specific location or like whatever it happens to be, if you're enjoying that, you don't have to sit there and go, I gotta get up in the morning and then go to this thing. It's like, oh cool, I get to do this now. Like you mentioned.
Appreciate.
Yeah, like
but take the time to be like, okay, I deserve a break. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not gonna work all the time just because this is fun, right?
Okay, so there's one thing. Too much of anything is bad,
Yeah.
including a job that's too fun. Then it'll just become bad. But,
Everyone
one,
needs their
one,
break.
one thing I'll say is just be yourself, because that's what makes you you. That's what makes you different from everyone else, is just be yourself. So, hey, maybe you hate on a really popular game because you just really don't like those. Just say it. You don't like it. You really like this game despite other people not really liking it. Just like it. Because that makes you you. That makes you unique among everyone else. You ever watch those YouTube videos that are like, like the people that are doing the video feel very fakey, like they're kind of putting on a facade like, oh yeah, this game is super awesome stuff and I think everyone should get it. Or it's like, oh, this game is just...
I think we've all been like guilty of that. Like,
No, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely...
Undertale was what did it for me, and people saw right through it. Like on the genocide run, like people just saw it as like I was not enjoying myself. Like I got about 3/4 of the way through, and I was just like, I can't do this.
I can't kill any more of these.
No, I was just like I wasn't having fun because it's like I was so like engrossed from like doing the pacifist run because like it's so much more engaging, and then you just do like the genocide run, it's like how. Oh look, this just happened and it was quick. We're gonna have to tie this up because we got like 2 minutes left. We need to let the other people kind of come in right now.
I will say though, Megalovania.
Oh god.
But yeah, thank you so much everybody for coming to this panel. If you have any other questions, I'm sure you can ask us like off the floor
Yeah.
too.
I'll be in the artist alley at table 18. I sell a bunch of like video game related curler artwork.
Oh yeah, I saw your work. I have some posters. I'm here at table 40. I'm just gonna hang out there. We'll see.
And if you guys want to see, I think we're going to have another panel tomorrow morning at 11.
Oh, you're gonna be there. Okay,
Yeah,
we're
you're-
gonna meet and greet. Okay, so 11 to 12 on the
there's
main
the meet and greet,
stage.
the content creator meet and greet.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
cool.
a panel-ish
Cool.
thing.
And then I think that's gonna be more of what we've talked about today as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or something
Wait,
like that.
I'm not sure if I'm into that one. I know I'm in the Obsessive Gamer one tomorrow at 11:30.
You might be in this one as well. I talked to you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, guys, for attending those today.
I'll be around the convention, just walking around, probably at Joe Motiki's table.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone here knows for anime speech and wants to play,
So that's it.
talk to him for game tickets.
Right in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going that way right now.
I think it is. I don't know.
I'm still in the process of it, so like I was supposed to leave in 30
So
minutes,
what we're
but
gonna
like
do is,
Well,
we
thanks
do
for
this.
two different versions, and one is like extremely expensive because it's so rare. There's a black cartridge version which exists, which is the normal retail. And if you play multiplayer and you get to a certain point of the game, to get to a boss, it literally does not know to sequence it to the next scene. So the game is completely unplayable in multiplayer. But the gray one, they fixed it, and almost nobody has it. So it's like I've not quite seen too many games that actually have that problem unless they're like bootleg. So like Action 52 is, I think it's considered like a bootleg. Kind of, but not really.
Yeah. In technical terms, yes.
Yeah.
But in another sense, not really, because they kind of officially
Yeah.
released it.
It's not like licensed by Nintendo
Yeah,
kind
not
of thing,
quite, but
right?
it's like third party.
Which is like there's a whole plethora of NES games that are like that though.
Yeah, like the tank and
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Nintendo.
stuff like that, or what was it, Bible games?
Oh god, yeah, the Bible games.
Another way, going back to E.T., I did play it. I don't want to say it was good, but it wasn't that bad. I
Yeah.
just kind of found it like charming and a really.
For an Atari game, it was okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's okay for the technological limitations. It's not the most fun thing, but there are certainly worse things.
It wasn't the worst thing that I was told about.
It's like for it to get that much.
Yeah, like they built so much hype. When I go into there, it's just like, oh, that was just all air. And it's like a bottle. Like there's only this much water in it, but they make it sound like there's like a ton of it. Anyways,
It's like a disappointing bag of chips.
Oh my god.
oh yeah.
Yeah, but in a way, like every bag is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, they're all only half full.
Yeah, same with like protein powder. They always like leave this much space of air. It's like, right, I
Underneath
paid like
the cap.
50
You know why they
bucks for
actually
this.
do that? I actually figured this out. You know why they actually do that? It's like an air bag for them for whenever they're transporting it, so the things don't break apart.
yeah.
Still
I used to get so
It still
furious
sucks.
until I found that out. I'm like, I really would rather not have chip dust at the bottom of this bag.
That makes sense.
Once you find the reason, there's always a reason. It might not be a good reason, but
You're like, okay, I can
you
give.
accept it.
Okay,
What
maybe.
game were you guys talking about? I missed it.
Oh, we were talking about how like
Chips were disappointing.
chips were disappointing and how like hype builds up that like invisible
Oh, okay.
Like,
feature.
this is a
like
terrible game, right?
This is a terrible bag of chips.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we probably don't need this.
No,
I don't think we're good with
I
that.
think
We're in a
should
small
be
room.
okay. I think that
You guys
maybe-
have back in here, it's okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
cool,
perfect.
sweet. I think it'd be a good idea for us to maybe even like open up the Q&A now, just if anybody has any questions, and we can kind of branch
Yeah.
through all of that.
Anything about like reviews, any games we might want to
How to
tackle?
do them,
How
what
to
equipment
put
you
together.
want.
Yeah.
Any games tactic kind of feel, but they also encourage that that sharing of that experience because then you can play with other people, get into like squadrons and stuff like that.
Wait, I have a question. So you played
What's up?
No Man's Sky, and
I actually haven't played No Man's Sky, but I've played Elite Dangerous and I've seen enough on Star Citizen.
okay. So who's played it? Because I have a question.
I given up all hope on playing it now.
Oh, okay. This is what I heard from someone that there are like traders that you can like go to do like bargaining in the game.
Yeah.
I thought the game was called No Man's Sky. So why
Well,
do they
there's no.
exist?
Not bad.
Apparently, you're. I
They're
don't even know if
races.
you're human.
Well, I guess they should have said No Sentient Life Sky.
Well, better than no
I'll
man.
just put you
No.
online. There's like the huge on right now. There's like a ransom on somebody or
Oh my God.
something.
But-
Yeah, like $75,000.
No, don't worry. It's a VG cable. Uses VGA.
When it comes to EVE Online, the only thing that I was like really disappointed with that game is like, don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but not for me. Is I like being the person who's in the cockpit of the ship and controlling every little minute movement.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of play style that I like. That's why I like Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen Online.
I think you would really like Subnautica because there's a submarine you can build.
Yep.
It's so cool.
Now they have a mech.
I don't know.
That was the coolest part too, and the grapple arm.
I'm still saving up to get
Do you
it.
think we should cover?
No Man's Sky.
What's that?
No Man's Sky.
Oh, good
When it
lord.
goes down in price.
Yeah.
When it goes down in price, but then again, that's already the review. It's not worth the money that they set out.
I'll just rent it from work.
Oh wait, no, I got a better alternative. I got a better alternative for No Man's Sky. Anyone heard of the game called Subnautica?
Yeah.
What about Osiris?
Oh, I heard of that, but I don't like remember the details about
It's
it.
like New Landings or something. Osiris New Landings. Yogg's cast right now is covering it. It looks like so much fun. It looks better than No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky I was really disappointed with one particular thing. Like, put aside everything that they quote unquote falsely advertised. I won't get into that whole story, but the one thing that killed it for me was the fact that they said they have zero interest in multiplayer games and making like a multiplayer aspect to that game. And I was like, that ruined it for like 70% of the market because especially like. When you look at a game that is so open like that one, where it's like you can go and explore,
You want to share it.
you want to share that experience with so many other people. One of the games that I played the crap out of, and I love it so much, is Elite Dangerous. Very similar to the same vein of Star Citizen Online. These games really encourage like the gigantic galactic out of it, whereas there's just some games which are like totally broken and like the mechanics don't even work. Like what's the NES game that I'm thinking of that was incomplete? Like Cats, something. Cheetah Man, that's it.
Yeah.
Like-
Good old Cheetah.
And people are like, no, that game was actually somewhat good. It's like, you think that was better than E.T.? E.T. was actually a functional game.
See,
Yeah,
see,
I
I
heard they
actually.
got someone like that guy who like actually finished the game. He did what, like a Kickstarter.
There's some people actually
There's
finished
COVID, Cheetah Man 2.
Yeah, well, there was a guy who like put together a crowdfunding campaign so you could actually like make
Beat
it
it.
into a functioning game.
Yeah, I want to
So it
see
didn't
this
just
now.
break. Yeah, you should look into that.
It was at like the second year of Con Bro, the guy was like selling it. It was like, they didn't improve the game, they just made it possible to beat it.
What game was this?
Cheetah Man 2.
Oh.
If you ever heard of Action 52, there's a game on it called Cheetah Man. They made a sequel to that that was a complete crippled mess that
I
had
know.
coding
Someone
issues.
speedran it, though. Speedrun.
It's one of those games where like you get to a certain point in like the actual game and it doesn't let you get any further. It's like it won't. The only game that I can even think of that
It's
even-
unstable.
Yeah, it breaks, right? Like there's only one that I know that is more recent. Was do you remember Turok Rage Wars on the N64?
Oh,
There's